If you find yourself in a position at your job where you don't feel like you're being as supported as you need to be in order to do your job well, stay tuned. I'm going to be reacting to a video put out by Mind Your Society. I'm really excited because I've got some ideas. Hi guys, welcome back to Rich Social Worker. I'm Eva Ford, social worker, mindset mentor, and coach. And on this channel, we talk about all things money, mindset, and motivation. So if either one of those are important to you, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you will know every time I upload a new video. And today's video is actually unique. I've never done a reaction video, but I saw this video from Gabby Taylor, who runs Mind Your Society. Gabby had so many good points that I really wanted to watch the video with you and share what was coming up for me that hopefully could help those of you that might also be having this challenge and just add to the conversation. All right, so here goes.
What does advocating for yourself as a social worker look like? And I think we constantly are talking about the importance of advocating for our clients, advocating for our communities, but what about ourselves? That's also important.
So I love that Gabby highlights that so often in social work we talk about advocating for our clients. And we do sometimes sprinkle in advocating for ourselves, but it's not a hallmark of social workers, I don't think. And that's something that I absolutely believe in. You know, you can't be well for your clients until you can be well for yourself. I know when I was in undergrad, my teachers used to always say that to us. Really good point.
So I think one thing that's really important is setting the tone for what you expect and what you require from day one.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I love this point so much, and I love that Gabby started here. But what came up for me when I was watching this was, you know, when I was starting out as a social worker, I don't know if I would have known how to advocate for myself or what I needed to convey to my employers. I didn't know myself enough. I didn't know myself enough in the workplace. And since then, the thing that I would say to new social workers, or if you're not sure how to do this for yourself, the thing that I would really say to you is do your personality test. I talked about how your personality test might impact on your income in another video, but I think it's so important just in getting to know yourself and who you are and what you like and how you work best and what you need. And if you can know that for yourself, then you're going to be able to better convey it to your employers. So that's what I wanted to say in that section.
It's so important to set the tone and to not try to be Superwoman or Superman and show people that you're always going to be available and that they can call you at 12 a.m. and get a response, and, you know, really push your boundaries. Because when you start off your work relationship with your new employer and your new colleagues on that note, that's something that they're going to expect from you for, you know, from there on out. And do you really want to put yourself in that type of situation where you're compromising yourself, you're compromising your health, your personal time, your family time, all of that?
And on that note, I love the phrase that you teach people how to treat you. The boundaries that we set for ourselves show people how we allow them to interact with us. So Gabby makes an excellent point there. And I would also say that even if a situation comes up, you know, after you've been at the workplace for a little while and you recognize that, hey, I was comfortable with this, or I didn't say anything about this, I didn't realize how much it was affecting me, give yourself permission to re-engage in the conversation and say to your employers, you know, hey, you know, I didn't say this earlier and maybe I should have, but at the time I wasn't aware, whatever. But as soon as you know for yourself, be okay with letting the people that you work for know your new standard as well. That's perfectly great.
And I think learning how to give feedback effectively can help you advocate for yourself too. If you don't know how to effectively give feedback in a tactful manner, in a way that's not going to upset the people that you're talking to and cause a lot of drama and chaos, then you're less likely to stand up and talk to your employer about what you're not okay with and different changes that you want to see.
All right, so what I wanted to say about this part is that you may not know how to talk to your employer in a way that doesn't offend them. But there are two resources that I want to highlight here. So one is this book called The 3 Laws of Performance, and I'll talk about that in a second. And the other is Tony Robbins's psychology of, I think, human needs psychology. Sorry, I mentioned it in another video. But those two tools I use quite a lot. And what the 3 laws of performance say is this. Law number 1, how people perform correlates directly with how a situation occurs to them. Law number 2, how a situation occurs arises in language. And law number 3, we have the power to transform how a situation occurs through generative language. Now, that simply means that if you understand how someone else perceives a situation, you can use language to transform how that situation occurs and essentially have it go in your favor. Now, where Tony Robbins' 6 human needs comes in is because he purports that everyone on the planet has 6 human needs. We all have the same needs, but we prioritize them differently. And if we can speak to people in the way that they prioritize their needs, we can essentially get them to do whatever we want them to do or whatever we need them to do in this situation. So understanding how your supervisor or your workplace prioritizes those 6 human needs and then using language to transform how the situation occurs in a way that speaks to them is my suggestion of how you can quickly close that gap between knowing how to approach your bosses and your supervisors and people in your workplace and not.
So instead of talking to your supervisor and saying, I think I'm being underpaid, go to your supervisor and say, I've done some research and I believe that I may be getting paid lower than what market rate is. However, in order for my salary to be more aligned, I think that I need to be making this much money, and I am willing to do X, Y, and Z to show you that I am prepared and ready to get that position boost. And I think it would make sense if we worked on this timeline in order to move me from this position to the one that I aspire to be at. So be as clear as possible about what you want and outline as much as you can the steps that you are hoping to take to get you and your employer to that next level. And that also strengthens your argument as well. And as I mentioned, it makes it more likely for you to get what you want.
So I co-sign on everything Gabby said. And I would say that I think when social workers are negotiating a salary, what you've got to do, I think, is take a position of power. I see a lot of people, asking for permission and saying, well, do you think you could see clear to, is there any money in the budget for? So that position is not an empowered position. The position that you want to take, and I think Gabby alluded to it, is one where you see yourself as extremely valuable. And not only do you see yourself as valuable, but you can articulate what your value is. Now, if you're unclear as to how to articulate, or if you're not sure what it actually is, go back, find those friends that know you, ask them like, hey, what's unique about me? You may want to keep a running journal or a list of all the things that you do to add value. And again, theoretically, any one of us can be replaced, right, by someone else who's just doing the job at the bare minimum level. But no one can replace the uniqueness that you bring, the perspective that you bring, but you've actually got to articulate that. So where do you see gaps in service delivery? Where do you see the needs? Where do you see an opportunity to really improve services? And maybe not improve services, improve safety for you or for your colleagues. Maybe improve on a process. Anywhere where you can see yourself giving value, do that. That's what organizations are looking for. They're looking for people to bring them value. People pay for value, but they're not going to pay if you're just doing the bare minimum and you don't really have much of a leg to stand on as it relates to, showing up how you're so valuable and why you need this salary increase. So keep that in mind.
Honestly, when you're going into your career, you're going to come in contact with these situations. It's something that's completely inevitable. It will happen. You need to have boundaries and you need to have confidence to stand up for yourself and to tell people no in those situations and be very firm about it and make it very clear and close off any further conversation about it.
Yes. And one of the things that I think is a mistake that some of us do is we hear this information, which is on point, but our stance is maybe a defiant one or one that doesn't necessarily endear people to us. So yes, know your boundaries, have them. Yes, articulate them. But there's a difference between you're not treating me right and I refuse to do this, and saying something more along the lines of, I'd love for us to review how we communicate with each other, just so that we're both as comfortable as possible when it comes to working together and making sure that our clients have the best service possible.
It's important for you to actually know your worth and to build your worth in the job market as well. Yes, of course, if you're someone who is low skill, you don't have many things to offer, you're going to be less likely to advocate for yourself because you are afraid of losing your job or not getting respect in return, even though that's kind of messed up. No matter if you are low skilled or not, you still deserve respect and you still deserve rights in the workplace. But unfortunately, we know that that's not always the case. Oftentimes people with lower skill sets are the ones who get neglected the most. So one thing you can do to protect yourself is to build your skill set, make sure that you're an asset in the workplace so that you can demand more and that you can confidently advocate for yourself, and know that that company has something to lose. So if they don't take what you're saying to heart and listen to your concerns, they could possibly lose you because you have the skill set and you have market value and can leave them and get another job. You want to build yourself up in the marketplace to where you're not easily replaceable. So think about those small skills that you can develop that can make you unique and stand out against other people in the field that you work in.
Yes, yes, yes to everything Gabby said. And if you're not sure what skills you can develop or what the needs are in the area that you're in, there's a great resource called StrengthsFinder. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's really great at helping you to identify what your strengths are and where you might develop them. For some people, it's a skill that has to be developed and nurtured when it comes to identifying gaps in service delivery. I learned how to do something totally out of my wheelhouse. I learned how to develop a website. Well, not exactly. I learned how to use WordPress and Squarespace and some other applications. I know how to do graphics now. I know how to set up things like a podcast. I know how to run a YouTube channel. So these are skills that were not taught when I was going to school, but they've come in so handy, and they're things that I've been able to use not only in my private work, but also I've been able to leverage those skills in other work as well. So things like that, not just tech skills, but just wherever you are in the arena that you're in, you might even want to talk to some people that have been there longer than you. And as you talk to them, listen to, what some of the needs are, what are some of the common complaints that people have, and see how your strengths and your interests align with some of those needs, and see what you can develop. You might want to take a course, you might need to read some books, but whatever you can do to up your game and improve your knowledge base, it's not going to hurt. It's only going to help you.
I saw some article and it mentioned that most Americans don't have money set aside for a rainy day. And I understand it's hard for some people to do that because they're living paycheck to paycheck. But if you have an opportunity to put aside even a few dollars a month to build a safety net, I think it's important, and it's going to help you to have the confidence to advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself. Even if it's $50, $100, it will add up, or putting it in some type of savings account to where it can grow a little bit of interest on it.
All right, so love this, Gabby, because actually that's what Rich Social Worker is all about. Not just about money, but about including money in the conversation, because a lot of times money either isn't included in the conversation or it's included in the conversation as not being available, or it's not included at all, or it's an afterthought. So at Rich Social Worker, we talk about money, mindset, motivation. And the idea is like, look, if you can prioritize your financial awareness, so that might mean, hiring a financial coach or, looking into, how to develop your prowess as an investor. All of these things are available to us just like they're available to anyone else. But I don't think we as social workers take as much of an opportunity to learn this information for ourselves. And it's so important. So yes, Gabby, and I would say I would advocate not just saving $50, but also, or not just saving whatever you can, but also learning how else you can leverage your skills to make more money, or how else you can invest your money, or the ins and outs of money. I've talked about this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, on my channel before. I will talk about it, I'm sure, several times more. But if you've never taken the step in this direction to take control of your financial awareness or financial education, I would really recommend that you start there. It's a great intro into this whole world of being responsible for your money and not letting your money control you. So I love that Gabby brought that up.
So how can you invest in yourself and your skills to the point where you can have something outside of your 9-to-5 job in the case that there's an emergency situation and you need to rely solely on the money that you may be getting from a side hustle? So I think it's really important for people to think about what value they can add to society and how that value could generate additional income.
Okay, this is just gold. I love it so much because that's exactly the message that we preach here on this channel as well. And I think a good exercise to go along with that would be to really just sit down, take a piece of paper, pen, pencil, whatever, and write down all of your interests, the things that you possibly could do, things that you possibly could learn and might enjoy. Don't stop yourself. A lot of times we let our brains say, oh no, I don't have the equipment for that, or oh no, that seems too hard, or oh, I would want to do it, but I don't think I would be able to in this economy. Don't let that negative Nancy in your head, or negative Nelson, I don't know if you're a guy, I don't know what the negative guy is called, but yeah, don't let that negative part of your brain win. Just write it down, yes and, yes and, yes and. And I would say, hey, pitch 30, 40, 50 ideas to yourself out loud. Write them down. And when you're done writing that list, look for the top 10 things that maybe you could do. Not everything is going to bring you a return today. Possibly you may have to put some skin in the game and some elbow grease and some time into learning some skills so that you can be proficient. Like if you were going to try to start a YouTube channel, or like if you were going to teach online or something like that. There's probably going to be a learning curve, and that's fine. But if you can start thinking about it today, you're going to thank yourself in the future. I guarantee.
So I just think it's important for us to, put our conflict aversion to the side and give feedback about things that aren't working for you.
It doesn't matter what level you're at in social work. If you are having issues like, not being able to talk to your boss or having some sort of ethical dilemmas, it's worth seeking out supervision. It's really worth getting support. And even if you don't seek out professional supervision, definitely seeking out assistance from your colleagues that you can trust, friends that you can maybe confide in, to get help in how to approach situations, because there are good, better, and best methods, and you want to ideally be approaching challenging conversations from the best approach possible. Okay, guys, and that's it. I want to thank Gabby so much at Mind Your Society for creating this video. It was so inspiring to me, And if you like this video, give it a like. Make sure you go over to Gabby's channel and watch the original video so that you can see it in its entirety. I absolutely believe you can dream, be, do, have anything you want, but it starts with your mindset, so make sure it's a good one. Like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you again next time.